Hi, I'm Lynette Trares. Welcome to my podcast, I'm Every Woman, where I will weekly come together with women from all over the globe in a think tank podcast. I have always been somewhat a futurist and a kind of out-of-the-box thinker. And I just found it really intriguing that with podcasting, we could even, along with Skype and other technology tools that are now readily available to us, come together and have discussions about all sorts of topics. I myself, for the last several years, have owned a business. I created a cosmetic tattoo practice back in 2012 after having apprenticed for a year, and prior to that, with my degree, I hold a degree in human services and nonprofit organization and a master's in counseling. Had worked for the state of Missouri's Department of Economic Development, Workforce Development during the downturn in 2008. And I met people from just all over that had just kind of lost their footing and were having to retool and get back into what is a new economy. It's almost 10 years later, and I have created my own, economy in that I have a cosmetic tattoo practice. I've served women from all across the state of Missouri, even into the state of Illinois. Some people drive to me, believe it or not, I'm almost 2 hours away. I've been touching a lot of women and physically, in my tattoo practice, not realizing that we have such a dialogue. And oftentimes I see women several times a year, and we continue this dialogue, and across the board, it's from everything from the economics and the world we live in right now to topics of entrepreneurship, people who are really creative in the art realm, women who are of an educational background, military background, health professional background, and we're just seeking to influence legislation. We have public opinions and wanted to come together to where we were able to affect change and communicate and raise our voice as women who, with other women, might have interest in the like cause. So I hope that you'll join me every week as I jump on my podcast and Instagram TV post, and you meet the women that I meet every day, along with the nonprofit that I formed in 2016 for breast cancer, the Breast Ink Project, and as well my background from my early teens into my mid-20s. I was involved in the fashion industry as a model. I was also an 8-year voice student. I studied voice for 8 years from the age of 14 until my mid-20s, and I performed with showing touring group. I performed with the band. I had, believe it or not, another life. I had a Nashville producer, and I left that actually for a marriage, and in my second marriage found myself traveling the world and leaving the country as a military wife. So my experiences now in my mid-50s have just kind of crossed the board, taken me a lot of places. But the one I think I'm most proud of is mother of two. I have a 14-year-old son and a soon-to-be high school graduate 17-year-old daughter who kind of keep me alive, and I feel like in the world of technology, kind of ahead of the game sometimes, as I said. Just been a little bit of a trend forecaster over the years, and kind of a futurist type of thinker, out-of-the-box thinker. It seems like I've always been kind of ahead of myself in the time and kind of forecasting things that were coming, and maybe that's prophetic, I don't know, but I felt like the communicator that I am and the way I see the world, oftentimes it's funny when I'm in dialogue with other women, we kind of all see the same things and we see things come to fruition. So I had actually in the 90s had an opportunity to interview with Paul Mitchell, and I had traveled to Chicago for that interview. And at that interview, at such a young age and pretty green in life itself, I had someone mention to me the futurist Faith Popcorn and a book that she had wrote called The Popcorn Report. And I was very fascinated with this individual, and even today, I've still followed her all these years later. It seems like 25 years ago. It seems like yesterday, but she has something called the Brain Reserve. And collectively forecast, trend forecast, and has a really great dialogue to share information with the world about trends and things that are coming our way or have already come into, come to pass. So I just felt like with my background experience and the journey that I'm on, I wanted to create a podcast that I thought would bring women together in now a dialogue that seems to be a little more acceptant and very powerful in the times we're in. It seems the 2018 has been the year of the woman. So if you would like to join in this conversation, you can email me at Lynette Trares at gmail.com. That's LYNETTETRARES at gmail.com. And I look forward to the material and the episodes to come future. And I hope you'll join us every week as we podcast live with I'm Every Woman Think Tank